Scott Bogman, Chris Towers, Marina Fote. Thank you so much for joining in this very different panel talking about mascots.
I will say, I promise you, I have a little bit of math. not a lot. I'm not very smart. That whole presentation was incredibly fascinating, and it's also way too smart for me. I'm a low culture kind of guy, and so, but I did some division, so I do have a little bit of math.
I'm excited to see it, and I'm gonna get out of your hair right now and go apologize to Carlos. So, please take it away now. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, hi, I'm Chris Towers. I'll be hosting our discussion of the best baseball mascots. And I am, if you follow the CBS Sports Fantasy Baseball Today podcast, I'm part of that. But I'm not just a fantasy baseball analyst. I'm also an enthusiast of big furry freaks at baseball games. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, baseball mascots. And we've got Scott Bogman at Bogman Sports on Twitter. We've got Marina Fote, Marine Bean on Twitter. Welcome, guys. What's your Marine? We'll start with you. What's your history with mascots, so to speak? Who was your first favorite mascot?
My first favorite mascot. See, that's kind of a tough one, just because growing up in the Los Angeles area, went to Angels games, Dodgers games, and anytime the Yankees were in town, I would come for the Yankees, and so those were the three teams I was most excited to growing up. Never really had a mascot. So I kind of had to go a little outside the box on my favorites, and the sweater that I'm wearing right now, my Kansas City Royals one, Slugger did become a favorite at certain points throughout childhood. But yeah, really never had a solid favorite. What about you, Scott?
I don't know that I had a favorite mascot, but I went to a bunch of all-star games, and all the mascots go to the all-star games too. So they're just all standing around outside on the walkway, talking with fans, interacting with them, all that kind of stuff. And so much, I talk about mascots so much on the In This League Fantasy Baseball podcast that we started a mascot series. I never ended up finishing it, but it was by division. I did a bunch, but I started with the Diamondbacks and Rockies because I'm Arizona Diamondbacks fan, and they share a facility for spring training with the Rockies, and they have the whole presentation about how the Rockies got Dinger and all that stuff. So I had that in the back of my head. So I just have these weird mascot facts burned into my brain for whatever reason, and there's a bunch of weird ones, and they're always fun.
I always struggle with So in the course of doing research for this, I do want to point out the Angels did at some point have mascots. I do not have any memory of them, but we had Ribby and Southpaw in the early 90s for a couple seasons, and then Scoop and Clutch were bears wearing Angels uniforms with halos and wings. I do remember them. According to Wikipedia, they disappeared and were effectively replaced by the Rally Monkey in the 2002 season. I don't know if that counts as a mascot, but so the Diamondbacks in the course of doing research for this, they have Baxter, who is a bobcat, I guess. A little too realistic for my tastes. I prefer, like I said, my mascots to be freaks. And he just looks too much like a cat, and then they also have a luchador. I didn't know this. I don't know if that counts, is it because it's just a guy, right? Do we count that as a mascot?
I'm not sure. It's because a lot of teams have those floating mascots. I mean, there was one that my buddy, to make fun of me, who's a Dodgers fan, said, "Hey, don't forget about Rat Leon," which was supposed to be on the hashtag Rattle On, but it was a rat that they named Leon, and it did not last very long. People did not like it, so it came and went very quickly. And there's tons of those. I think if you stick around for 2 or 3 seasons, or you're part of the on-field festivities, you may not be the main mascot, but you are a mascot. I would consider the Sausages a mascot for Milwaukee, and then the Presidents for the Nationals as well. Those are mascots, but they're not the main mascot.
All right, so before we get to our draft and the way we're going to do this, we're going to draft a team of mascots, and maybe I don't know if Nick can throw a poll in the chat to see who has the best group of mascots, but either way, it's not about winning. It's about the friends we made along the way. Some facts about mascots before we get going, though, according to Wikipedia, very reliable source. The tradition in the Major League Baseball mascots began with Mr. Met, introduced when the New York Mets opened Shea Stadium in 1964. I find that hard to believe. It feels late for mascots, but maybe so. 7 MLB mascots are in the Mascot Hall of Fame, a real museum that exists in Whiting, Indiana, founded by David Raymond, the original Philly fanatic, which opened a physical location in 2018. The MLB mascots who are in the Mascot Hall of Fame. Slugger with 3 R's, the Kansas City Royals Lion mascot. The Philly Fanatic, the San Diego Chicken, Mr. Met, obviously. Oriole Bird, I think his name is just Oriole Bird. Slider, who is a Cleveland Guardians freak. Again, this is my favorite category of mascots. And Southpaw, also a freak. Of the 41 official current mascots based on this Wikipedia article, or mascot groups, I suppose, because there's like 50 if you include the sausages and pierogies. And, I've grouped them into 4 categories. 49, this is where the math comes in. 49% of them are anthropomorphic. 9% of them are just baseball heads. 5% of them are food, although technically more because you have the sausages and pierogies in Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. And of course, 8% of them are men, baseball presidents or the luchador. And my favorite category, 22% are freaks. That includes, technically the Philly Fanatic is a flightless bird, but no. He's not a bird. He's a freak.
Didn't they just announce that he's a bird too? A couple years ago.
I don't like that. We don't need that explanation. I don't like. He's the mystery.
Fanatic.
The mystery
need to be anything
is
different.
what makes him great. You got the Fenway monster, Wally, I believe is his name. We've also got a little in memoriam section if anybody wants to sing a sad song to some mascots who are no longer with us. That includes Astro Jack and Astrodillo, the former Astros mascots. BJ Birdie, of course, what a great name. Harry Elefante, a former
was that the
Oakland Athletics mascot. Lefty and righty, Boston Red Sox anthropomorphic socks.
Ooh, that's tough.
The San Diego Chicken, and of course Yuppie. What a legend, Yuppie. I hope we see Yuppie make a return at some point in Montreal. And that's my intro for our mascot draft. I did a lot of preparation, a lot of math, counting on my fingers and toes on those mascots.
Had to take your socks off for all that, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. To count all the freaks. And so now we're gonna start the draft, and I think we're gonna start with Marina. And I do want to point out I do have my little Billy the Marlin.
Oh,
I wish they only have the new one who is like a kind of a weird soulless freak. And not in the good way that I've been using that word so far. I'm not a fan of the updated Billy the Marlin.
Just
the original Billy the Marlin, much better. Lost his head while parachuting into a game once. Just a legend. And Marina, we'll start with you. You've got the first pick in the mascots draft. We'll go Scott, then me. We'll snake back around. We'll go 5 and just tell me what you love about the mascot that you're picking.
All right. So to start out for the first pick, I had to give this one some thought because there's a lot of mascots that I love for a variety of reasons. And the number 1 pick I felt like should be just right and just as perfect and as accurate, logical, well thought out. So I kind of went that direction more so than personal preference, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So with the first pick, I did go with the Oriole Bird. And again, the reason, it's just very precise. It looks like the logo, it looks like the brand, it was just really well thought out and put together. So obviously the Oriole Bird does a lot in the community every year. It's one of those that just wants to have fun no matter the situation. And I think that's what mascots are all about. And that's why I went with the Oriole Bird.
I like that one. I do have to ask, though, as a personal preference point, do you prefer when the mascot represents a real thing and then represents that thing accurately? Or do you just, whatever's the most fun? What's the best? Oh, hi, Kitty.
It's my own mascot. That's Captain.
There you go.
Yeah.
Love it. Adorable.
Yeah. He wants to be the star every day.
I have to lock my cats out of the room when I'm podcasting.
I forgot. So here he is.
So yeah, I would have to say, as a personal preference, I think it's a combination. I think it's a little of both. You know, you want to have some of that kind of straightforwardness to it, but then you know you also want to be a little bit outside the box and you know get creative with it. I love the fact that some of the teams that currently have mascots did so by utilizing fan feedback, and you know, one of them recently, in I think it was 2018 Fan Fest, one of them was just dreamed up by the fans. Like 250 fans came through and created the new one. I think it was the Braves mascot actually that they recently.
Yes.
Blooper.
What's it? Blooper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real weirdo.
Yeah. Does Blooper go on the freaks list?
Oh, Blooper's absolutely a freak. Yeah. If you want, I can you know categorize. I can put the freaks. I've got Orbit from the Astros, freak. Blooper, Slider, Philly Fanatic. He's got an asterisk, technically a bird, but we don't recognize that. Authority. Raymond from the Rays, one of the, I learned 4 Rays mascots, which is wild. I could make a cheap joke about how there might be more mascots than fans in the stands at some points, but I won't go there because I'm a Marlins fan. I have no ground, you know.
Yeah.
Wally and Tessie, siblings, who, you know, one's a wall monster and the other's a Dropkick Murphys song. Gapper from the Reds. The Reds also have like 4 mascots. I had no idea that they had that many mascots. They have a guy named Gapper, and then Southpaw, the White Sox freak. So yeah, those are your 8 Major League Baseball freak mascots. And Scott, let's see if you're gonna go on the freak board.
I mean, I think I have to. You know, I think I got to take the Fanatic here. I thought Fanatic was for sure going to go number 1, but just the most fun, the weirdest on the ATV, the most recognizable mascot in the land, I believe. Obviously, Always Sunny helped with the Fanatic as well and invented Green Man, you know, for the Phillies also. So lots of great mascots out there. But I do think, you know, just the fact that Jim Henson was involved in creating the Philly Fanatic, and you know that they could have bought the copyright for the Fanatic for $5,200, but they weren't sure to do this. I just saw this on an article from MLB.com, and so they waited 3 years and had to pay $500,000 for the copyright for the Fanatic instead of the $5,200. So, needless to say, hey, look, it's worth the money at that point, right? But you could have had it for much cheaper if you thought it was going to work out, but they weren't even sure, and it becomes, you know, the Philly Fanatic becomes the biggest mascot of all time.
Although he's got some stiff competition.
There's a lot of competition.
Gritty might be up there. I don't know. But
Gritty is like, there's no way that Gritty and the Fanatic are not cousins. They got to be related somehow, right? Like they're both.
Gritty is the king of the freaks,
right? Well, of the freaks for sure. But the Fanatic is the OG, so I got to go with the Fanatic here.
Yeah, I appreciate that Philadelphia has amazing baseball mascot. They've got Gritty for hockey, and they've just never been able to figure out a mascot for their basketball team. They used to have a rabbit known as Hip Hop, who had like I'm not making this up. He had like a do-rag and like sunglasses. And now they have I think he's a dog named Franklin. It's not great. Not living up to the legend of the Fanatic and Gritty. All right, so we've got the Oriole Bird and the Philly Fanatic. I'm here for 2, and so we're going active mascots, right? I can't go with the San Diego Chicken. He's no longer around.
I mean, I had the chicken on my list, but if we're only going actives, then I will remove the chicken also. So.
And then some other ground rules. Do I have to pick a specific president, or can I take all of them? Okay, all right.
The group. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go with number 1, Mr. Met. Just a legend, one of the OGs, a baseball with arms and legs, plays the trumpet.
The first one too, by the way.
That is what the Wikipedia article says.
Humanoid or whatever. Oh, is that right? Okay.
So, yeah, Mr. Met, great mascot. Mrs. Met, she disappeared for a little while. They had some troubles, but things seem to be going okay. I assume there's a child Met at some point, but yeah, no, Mr. Met, great mascot. It's been around for damn near 60 years. Looks great. Still keeping it tight. So way to go, Mr. Met. He's my first pick, number 3 overall. And then
also willing to interact with the fans in a negative way. we saw recently a couple years back. So
Incredible.
I mean,
one of the best baseball photos of all time.
Represent New York for sure. So
unbelievable stuff. After that, if things get a little less clear. There's a lot of I love a pun, so I love Lou Seal, the Giants seal mascot. But I think I'm going to go with Bernie Brewer for my second overall pick. Love a mustache, so I've got that covered. Love a guy who slides into a barrel of beer. Who among us wouldn't want to do that? It's kind of messed up that he no longer slides into beer, but it's fine. I get it. We have to keep things family friendly. But yeah, Bernie Brewer, what a legend. Lives in that house up in left field. He's got a slide. What don't you love about Bernie Brewer?
So we actually did do the NL Central on that Mascots series that we were doing, and Bernie the Brewer was actually after a real guy named Milt Mason, who for a promotion for the Brewers lived in a house above the stadium for like a couple weeks, and he said he was going to live there until they drew 40,000 people to the stadium because the Brewers were just miserable. So it took them a little bit to draw this, but they had some type of giveaway, some promotion, and then he finally left the house, but he jumped off of this with a rope or something and broke some bones and ended up in the hospital,
yes,
which is why they have the slide for him and all that stuff now, which is just an insane story about the Brewer and how that became a thing.
I do remember that. He used to have a companion named Bonnie Brewer. She's no longer around. She was there for 7 years. She would sweep at the backsides of the opposing team's third base coach with a broom as the field crew was taking care of the bases in the in between innings. So just, great guy. He's got, I feel like Bernie the Brewer, he's got like real divorce guy energy though. So that makes sense that she's no longer around. Scott, let's get your second pick.
I got to go with Dinger. This is the one that kind of started my, fact knowing about mascots. Was I was sitting in the crowd at a Rockies and Diamondback spring training game. It was a Rockies home game, and they showed Dinger. And the reason that the Rockies have a Triceratops as their mascot is because while they were digging out the foundation, for the stadium, they found Triceratops bones. Now, it's a little different because at the actual ballpark, they found like 3 little bones that are the size of a pencil. But, I think a mile or two away, they found a full Triceratops skull. So they were obviously in this area a long time ago. So that is why they have Dinger as the mascot. And, it's a pretty good mascot. I do like at the end of the game, he goes behind the plate to annoy the opposing pitchers and everything and spins his head around. A pretty solid mascot overall. So I got to go with Dinger here.
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, has been the Colorado Rockies' biggest fan since he first hatched from his egg at Mile High Stadium on April 16th, 1994. I remember I've seen the video of them unveiling him, and he actually does come out of an egg. It's a delight. Dinosaurs were big in the 90s. You had the Colorado Rockies, the Toronto Raptors, 2 expansion teams. I feel like this is just a Jurassic Park thing as well, but I love it. Love his purple look. Purple's a great color. So I'm a fan of Dinger. Marina, how about your next 2 picks?
All right. So my second overall, I went with the Mariners Moose.
Mariners Moose, yes.
Have to say, visited Seattle Mariners Ballpark at the time that it was still Safeco Field. So this was back probably 5 years ago now. And was just extremely impressed with the Mariners Moose. He has these great dance moves on top of the dugout. He drives an ATV around the warning track. He was doing backflips on the field. He's just one of those guys that just is full of energy. He wears costumes. He pulls pranks on the crowd and fans. I once saw a video of him just putting a whole pie into a fan's face, just kind of out of nowhere. It was, I don't know if that was planned, but didn't seem like it on the fans' end, but just very exciting stuff. And I think he just embodies the true meaning and spirit of baseball in a similar way that, all the picks that you guys have already listed do so as well.
another mascot who has suffered injuries in his career. If you remember the 1995 American League Division Series, he was being towed around the outfield on inline skates behind an ATV and crashed into the outfield wall and broke his ankle.
Pretty popular GIF. Yeah.
There's something about mascots getting hurt that I will always find funny. I know I shouldn't. Maybe that makes me a bad person because it's I hope there's no children watching, but that's a real person inside of there. But it's just all like what
did you expect to happen? It's one
of
the
those. Denver Nuggets mascot. I don't know if you ever seen this one where he fainted while he was up in the rafters and they were going to drop him down on a wire and he fainted or something. And he's just slouched down, but he's still got the big mascot grin. It's always funny to me. Or the inflatable Raptors mascot. They for some reason, inline skates are a bad idea with mascots. I feel like it's an unwieldy process in general. And he's got to
be a hard mascot head to do that in too. You've got the antlers, you've got the big nose, where are you actually
very
looking
top heavy
through? Yeah. That's got to be a tough one to manipulate for sure.
Yeah, the Raptors mascot, he's I think he's inline skating down the stairs in the crowd, which just nothing about this is a good, and it's an inflatable, one of the inflatable mascots. He eats it.
Might as well be.
Legs go out from under him like a cartoon. Smashes his face on the ground. Ugh. And then it deflates. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. I know I shouldn't laugh again, but I can't help it.
Well, you just respect, the people that do this stuff and that go into these costumes, really.
Oh, they're athletes.
Absolutely. No
Great
question.
dancers. Yeah, all of it. Love it. All right, let's get your third pick. Excuse me.
Yes, absolutely. So I did go with, for my third pick, Mr. Met. And I did want to add Mr. Met.
Oh, wait, no, I took Mr. Met.
Oh, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, so I will go for the third pick, Billy the Marlin. And the reason I'm going with Billy the Marlin this early, he did have a 22-inch bill, and I was doing, some research on him. I thought that's just very impressive to navigate that. I mean, to have something sticking out that far and to still, be able to make your way through the ballpark and all of that stuff. Not, impaling people in the process. Definitely respect for that. And yeah, just the fact that he's always got that kind of, like you mentioned, just that mascots, they have the same facial expression at all times. It's always a very happy looking marlin fish. And for a fish, that's a bit of an achievement. I don't see too many smiling fish when I'm, looking at fish and fish tanks and all that kind of stuff. So the look on his face it always kind of makes me laugh. He's always smiling, and he's just got that very wide open, triangular, upside down smile on his face. So
there's my guy.
Yeah, there he is.
Officially the son of William and Wilhelmina Marlin.
Of course.
So he is Billy the Marlin, and also I think he's Billy Marlin the Marlin would be his official name and title. I grew up in South Florida. I'm a Marlins fan. I went to hundreds of Marlins games. I'll never forget going with one of my friends, and this was probably 2005. We were still in high school, and it's one of those classic 2005 Marlins games where there's 800 people in the stands, and Billy the Marlin's trying to spend time with each of the individual 800 people in the stands during the game, and
like Joey Votto at the end of last year.
Exactly, yeah. And my friend Dan yells at Billy, how does it feel to know you'll die alone? And it was the meanest thing anyone's ever said to a Marlin. And I felt so bad for him. But Billy, he's a professional. He shook it off. So he's a good guy.
Let me ask you guys, who is more recognizable at this point, Billy the Marlin or the Marlins guy that wears the orange jersey to every single game and sits behind the plate and stuff? Yeah, Marlins, man.
Yes. Oh, man.
We won't recognize him as one of our own.
I like sport. Just Marlins guy sucks.
He's just been so all over the place. It's almost like he embodies so many different stadiums. Just the variety of places.
Yeah, how is he Marlins man? He's more like orange shirt man at this point.
Yeah, that's
like,
he just picked it because it was the most obnoxious color he could find. Is
Right.
really all it is. He's not a real Marlins fan, all right. He wasn't there in the Mark Kotze era, all right. He wasn't with me at Pro Player Stadium when Todd Dunwoody was patrolling center field, all right. He doesn't know about that life.
He's all Juan Pierre or better, right?
Exactly. Yeah. All right, Scott, let's get your third pick.
All right. Well, I got to homer out here and go with the Diamondbacks Bobcat, D. Baxter. And now a lot of people don't understand why the Diamondbacks with, a snake have a Bobcat as their mascot. And on Reddit, I saw a post under the baseball Reddit that just said, why the F is the Diamondbacks mascot a Bobcat? That was the title of the whole post, and it had so many comments. But if you were wondering, it is because the stadium initially was Bank One Ballpark. Everyone called it the Bob, and it's way easier to get a person in a cat suit, and make one that lasts longer than a snake suit, because snakes don't have arms and legs. It looks weird. Across the street from where the Diamondbacks played, there's an arena football team called the Arizona Rattlers, which has one of the most horrifying mascots you'll ever see in your life, which is you got to look it up, Chris. It is a snake head with arms and legs. It is as creepy as they come. And that was around before the Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks looked at that and said, let's go an alternate route. Let's make it a Bobcat. And many DUIs later, here we are with the same D. Baxter, and pretty solid mascot, and always was willing, at those All-Star games, not many people wearing Diamondbacks gear. So he'd always come up and take a picture with me and my buddies. So great guy in the suit too. So I like that.
And to add on to that, I found it very interesting that one of the original Diamondbacks players, Jay Bell, his son was the kid that originally came up with the idea to call it the Baxter, the Bob Cat for Bank One Ballpark. And interestingly enough, just looked him up last night. He has been in the Reds system for a few years now as a prospect. And now he's with the Padres, I believe.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's a great point. I definitely had forgotten about Jay Bell's kid, but yeah, that is an outstanding point too. And the Diamondbacks have had many other side failed mascots like the Luchador, like Rat Leon, like we said, but Baxter sticks around. So yeah, Baxter's the original D-backs guy.
I'm looking at Striker D. Rattler is the mascot for the 6-time world champion Arizona Rattlers. And it seems like we've got every other Arizona or Phoenix area mascot here. So we've got Baxter. He looks very grumpy. He's got who was the guy who was just like grumpy on 60 Minutes?
Oh, yeah, I can't remember the guy that you're talking about.
But I can't remember.
I can't remember. He kind of looks like him. Yeah. He looks like a grumpy old man. Baxter.
A little bit. I can see it. That's supposed to be like a grin or a smile on his face, but it does look weird because I think that's where he looks through.
Love the Phoenix Suns gorilla mascot also.
That's been around forever. I mean, since
big fan of that one.
Whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, snakes shouldn't have arms. Like that's just there's like 2 species of snakes that have arms that like have like vestigial limbs, but they don't actually use them for anything. But they shouldn't. It's not right.
Andy Rooney. Yeah, that's the guy.
Andy Rooney. There you go.
Good pull, boys.
That's what he looks like. He looks like Andy Rooney. All right. Well, I've got 2 picks here, and I think now is the right time to go with. I'm going to go with the presidents over the sausages. I love the sausages, but the presidents, I just find them so funny. They've got like the like Easter Island head kind of look. They're very oversized heads. I think there's a video of one of them getting hurt, which I always, as we've discussed multiple times, I find very funny. So I'm always down for that. And just the chicanery of the race, the tricks that they're trying to pull to get out ahead. Big fan of Abraham Lincoln. So all of that, I think, works in the president's favor. What were they the first racing mascots?
Sausages.
Sausages were first?
Yeah.
Okay.
kind of come first. Yeah.
You've also got the Pittsburgh pierogies, which I'm a big fan of. My family's from Pittsburgh. Love a pierogi. Love the pierogi race. That's a big. And the Marlins used to have. I think before Jeter shut up and made everything significantly less fun, they had the undersea critters mascot race. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. It is like an acid dream. Let me see if I can find it. They had like an octopus that was like 12 feet tall. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can share this picture because it's just it's horrifying. It's amazing. It's
and
one
this
of my
is
favorites.
now these are mascots that would race because the Diamondbacks have those too, except for their Diamondbacks legends. It's like Randy Johnson and Luis Gonzalez and Matt Williams and all those guys. It's
Schilling comes out there.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a Schilling one. I can't remember who the fourth one is. It's the same. Oh, it's Mark Grace. That's who it is because he's the announcer there. Yeah, Gracie. And Gracie, like for the first 3 years they had them, would always come in last every single time until they finally let him win one like 3 years after they started. It was hilarious. So,
all right, I'm trying to share it. Oh, there you go. This was the Marlins undersea mascots race. It's one of the like watching that in person. I just felt so blessed to be able to like it was. I've never done psychedelic drugs, but now I know what it's like. You know.
And Derek Jeter sent all of these mascots a gift basket and said, "See, hit the bricks there, no more."
I believe I can't remember if that was what era. I think it was a Derek Jeter era that they got rid of. And look, you know, I. Respect with a number 2, all that to Derek, but he made the Marlins less fun, I will say. All right, so I've got the let's see, I've got the
you took the
presidents, and now, gosh, I was hoping Billy the Marlin would make it back to me. I thought it was too early to take him where I was picking before. I didn't want to be a homer, so I lost out on that. Could go off the board. The Rays red mascots are really weird. I don't know if you've ever seen. They have DJ Kitty, who is the cat wearing a backwards hat. They have Stinger, who's a stingray that just looks like a ghost. It's like the most low budget mascot out there. It's phenomenal.
Put a sheet on, stick your arms out. We'll call you a Ray.
And that's it literally like, I don't know if you guys know Phoebe Bridgers, but her album Stranger in the Alps, it just looks like that. It's just a kid in a ghost costume, basically. I'm going to go with the Pirate Parrot. I believe is his official name. He's been around for a while. I think he was around in the 70s during that.
He's moved some product.
And famously was implicated in the 1980s Pirates cocaine scandal. The mascot was supplying the players with cocaine during the 1980s. So, you know, he's got extra cash lying around, presumably.
I mean, this is such a good mascot. The pirate is so perfect. The parrot is so perfect for the Pirates because of Treasure Island and all that stuff, you know, the bird that was Captain Flynn or whatever. And it's just a perfect thing. The Welsh and I have always talked about how, why don't they do, no one shows up to that stadium. Why don't they do like once a week, you know, dress up like a pirate, get in for $5 or something like that, you know? So you just have the whole cast of Pirates of the Caribbean showing up. You know, all of your people are in there for $5. They're all dressed like pirates. That would be a great promotion for that, you know, for that stadium and for that team to get people in the stands because they're not going to put the product on the field. You know, we know that. So do something there, but you know, starts with the pirate, the parrot. Excuse me, the parrot is a outstanding mascot.
I do have to say, I did debate between the pirate parrot and the Oriole bird as my number 1 pick. Just parrots and pirates, they just go together.
It's a perfect fit. It really is. It's very like, some of them are kind of like you got to stretch to see the you know the
relevance
relationship. Yeah, that one makes perfect sense. That's great. I assume they've had a pirate mascot at some point. I know their logo used to be like a very like grizzly like 5 o'clock shadow pirate, which is a weird logo for.
They had a mascot for that guy, but I think the people just love the parrot too much, so it didn't last very long.
All right, so who was that? That was my pick. So it's Scott's pick now for the fourth pick.
Okay. Yeah. All right. This one's tough here. I'm gonna go just because I moved here recently. I'm gonna go with Orbit. I'm in the Houston area now. Got to represent the Astros, I guess. Plus, if I need any signals relayed to me, I know he's gonna be good for banging on some trash cans or something. So, definitely one of the freaks, like you said. They tried to get rid of him with whatever that Jackrabbit nonsense was when they went to the World Series. Against the White Sox.
Oh gosh, I've never seen this rabbit.
Oh yeah, it's almost like a Trix rabbit, like it's tall and skinny. It's like a Slender Man rabbit is what it looks like, and is very, very weird. But the people revolted against the rabbit and brought Orbit back. So better than a guy. They had some logo, I think, or some mascot from when they were the Colt 45, some type of guy that would draw down on you. Got rid of him. Let's go with the more space theme. So I like Orbit, and like I said, if I need some trash cans beat on, I know he's going to be there for me.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I have always assumed Orbit was a more recent. He's got like a very like 2000s, 2010s kind of feel to me, but apparently he's been around since the Astrodome days. I didn't realize they've updated his look a little bit. He's gotten a little older, but
he's got some history. He does look older these days, I would say.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Astrodome era, and he looks like a small child version of him. He's grown up.
He's grown up.
Also,
yeah.
Apparently his dad is around. He's got a big gray mustache. I'm looking at a picture of that one as well.
I don't think I've ever seen.
I have not.
Multiple generations of the Orbit family. It's attached to. I'm looking at a Houston area story from August 29th, 2019 by a woman named Katie Oxford. Headline: Crushing on Orbit, why I want to marry the Houston Astros green mascot. Subhead: Oh, how Orbit deserves love. Let me count the ways.
I mean, everybody's got their own thing, right? So
look, no judgment.
It's fine. Yeah, judgment-free zone.
Judgment.
All right, Marina, let's get your next two picks.
All right, so I am going to go with, for my fourth overall, Mr. Redlegs. And the reason I'm going there, debatably, this is the oldest baseball head dressed in a Red Stockings uniform. So, of course, the Red Stockings, the very first official affiliated baseball team going back to 1869. So I think that history is super cool. And the original renderings for Mr. Redlegs, I was researching this, and apparently the design and the I don't know if he was specifically created in terms of an outfit necessarily at that point in time, but 1902 is when the first drawing of Mr. Redlegs came about. So just kind of love the history here, and just kind of the originality going back to the origins of the game, and of course the National League getting founded back in the 1800s and all that different stuff sort of becoming what it is today, and developing into all that. So yeah.
This is a historical context pick, right, Marina? Like this is
but also just a great man. Like looks like he's walked in on something.
Right?
That he
this
was
is
not
the mustachioed
see.
one with the crazy eyes, right?
They have Mr. Red. I've got
Leg.
it. I'm trying to share the screen, but they've got Mr. Red and Mrs. Red, and they look like Mr. Met and Mrs. Met. They might be related. And then you've got Dazzler. I don't know what this other fella's name is.
Yeah, that
Gapper.
Gapper. Yeah.
Weird, not a lot of opportunities for the ball to go in the gap in a small field in Cincinnati. So then maybe that's not why he's not so well known. But then you've got Mr. Redlegs, who looks like he's been through some stuff. I don't know what he walked in on, but it's a great, way better than Mr. Red. Mr. Redlegs is, I'm a big fan. Just the weirder, the better is always my thing. And then, so this is a very weird mascot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely, like you said, Chris, he looks like he's walked in on something here, potentially. But also the other guy, the other baseball head guy, they had like I've seen a logo where the eyes are all black. Not a good look for him. Looks like an alien with the baseball teams, stitched into his face. So not a great look there, but yeah, Mr. Redleg. And then I also like the fact that they started calling them the Redlegs instead of the Reds because they didn't want to be associated with the communist during the Red Scare. So they were the Redlegs.
I think that was all through the 1950s, right?
Yeah.
50s.
And then they could go back to being the Reds after that. So
yeah,
but yeah.
Someone in the comments says he looks like he might have been hanging out with the Pirates parrot. He also may have just seen the Marlins racing sea critters.
Oh yeah, sea critters. Yes.
Maybe that's where it came from. Maybe that was a bad acid trip for Mr. Redlegs, and he came up with the idea for the Marlins sea critter race. Marina, we got one more pick from you.
All right. Gosh, let's see. So this is a tough one. I'm gonna make this decision on the fly here. I think I'm gonna go with Stomper, the A's elephant. So this one does go back to the Philadelphia A's. They did adopt the elephant as their mascot, all because of an insult by New York Giants manager John McGraw in 1902. So this one also has some history to it, going back to Philadelphia. So kind of fun. Again, I don't really see the correlation between the modern day Oakland Athletic and an elephant, but there's a lot of history there, and it's
great logo. The elephant like standing on the globe is one of my favorite baseball logos.
So I guess the owner of the A's said that his team was a white elephant, which at the time was, a burdensome gift, which apparently after some sultan said that some sultan used to give albino elephants to people that he didn't like. He would gift them these elephants because they're hard to take care of and there's no place to put them and all that stuff. He called his team a white elephant based on whatever this old historical story was, and that's where the elephant logo came from, which is just it's so weird. And like Chris said, I'm the same way. I'm sure you are too, Marina. Whatever's the strangest, weirdest one, like that is what I'm drawn to. The weird. So that one is definitely out of nowhere. There's an old Jim Gaffigan joke where he's talking about Easter, and he's like, how did they come up with all of the Easter stuff? Where it's like, well, how about eggs? He goes, what, for Easter? All right, we'll hide them. What do you mean we'll hide them? Don't worry, there's a bunny. Like that's how some of these mascots seem to be made up. They just throw a dart, and if it sticks, it sticks. And if it sticks, you have to pay $500,000 to pay for the copyright of the fanatic. So.
Do you know who delivers chocolate to children in France on Easter?
Can't say that I do.
I learned this from David Sedaris'
If it's a white
book.
elephant, I'm going to lose it.
Not a white elephant. I learned this from David Sedaris' book, Me Talk Pretty One Day. And I believe a bell, a magical bell flies in from a church in Seville, Spain, and delivers chocolate to the children. I might be remembering this wrong, but that is the memory that I have from that book, because they go into how weird the American Easter tradition is. It's a bunny.
It's pretty weird. Yeah.
Scott, let's get your pick.
All right, the last one is tough. I have so many I want to pick here. We can't go. Obviously, the chicken would have been off the board a long time ago if we could still draft the chicken. I guess I'll go with you. You referenced it a couple times. I've let you kind of have it here, but you haven't grabbed it. I got to go with Raymond. The weirdest to me of the Rays logos. He's supposed to be a walrus or something, I guess. Gulf of Mexico walrus. I guess.
I don't think there are any walrus in the Gulf of Mexico.
And I saw that they gave it the scientific name of what the fluffalus, which I love as well. That's outstanding. So it's so weird. I don't know why the Rays would have a walrus. I guess just, but I don't want to judge because the Diamondbacks have a bobcat, right? So it's just weird. And I just wish, I wish I could see the weird stingray one. One time. You're gonna have to send me that, Chris, because I don't understand how you could make that a logo. I know they have the pool of Rays in the back of the stadium, which is very cool. But I don't know how you could make that a mascot. So I'm gonna have to go with Raymond.
I'm gonna try to share the image first of if we can get the DJ Kitty up in the background. I don't know who Nick, if you're in charge of that. I've got him up, and then we'll show Stinger, because Stinger's also a weird dude. It's very so. This is DJ Kitty. If you've seen the like video of the cat, like DJ, that's what that's referring to.
That looks like something from Fortnite.
Really, yeah, they're leaning into the zeitgeist there, and then here's Stinger, the Ray. That's
tough.
Who looks like a ghost.
Stinger, he looks in good spirits. You know, you gotta handle
it. It's got like a real left shark, right shark vibe from the.
It looks like a shark trying to puppeteer with another shark in his hand. Right? Like, why does his hand also have a mouth?
Maybe that's no. He's got gills under. I have no idea what's going on.
Is that a gill?
Here.
Maybe it's a gill. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like he's got like a. Oh, I can't remember. Fernando Rodney. He's wearing his hat like Fernando Rodney there, which I appreciate.
Yes.
Yeah. Raymond's a weird dude. I'm a fan of Raymond. Again, love. So he's supposed to be a walrus. I categorized him as one of the freaks, but apparently I've miscategorized him, and he is actually an anthropomorphic.
So my guy Jesse just put it in the chat here. Raymond is actually a previously undiscovered species of dog known as Canis manta whatthefluffalus, or in layman's term, a sea dog, from MLB.com.
There you go. Okay, so I was wrong. Yeah.
It kind of makes sense. Shaggy hair he's got. Sea dog.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. I'm gonna file that under like Philly Fanatic, where it's freak, but with an asterisk. It's technically a bird or a dog. But
we're getting down to the definition of these weird mascots today. I like it.
So we've got a lot of mascots left by my count. Let me see. We've got 14 chosen so far. That leaves about 27 if you're grouping them together like that. And most of the weirdos are gone, unfortunately. I'm not a big fan of Wally. It just feels a little convoluted. It feels like they're trying too hard. Like the Red Sox, we need a mascot. Let's get a Wally. I don't know how I feel about him. So I'm not going there. A lot of animals left, and I don't love like a very realistic depiction of an animal. Like Screech, the Nationals mascot, looks too much like an owl. It's too realistic. It's not cartoony enough. So I'm taking him off the board. Don't love Clark, the Cubs mascot. Not a big fan of him. Don't love either of the card. They have Fredbird and the Rally Squirrel. Don't like either of those guys. Not a fan. Blooper's too new. I don't know how he's going to age. I don't know, what kind of hijinks he's going to get into. So I don't know if I can trust him.
What is Blooper supposed to be?
I categorized him as a freak, but again, my categorizations have been called into question here. So I don't know. He is everything you could imagine in a mascot. I don't know. He's funny. He's mischievous. He loves the Braves, and he will definitely all caps make you laugh.
All right.
I prefer if I'm going for
like a bad Tinder profile.
If I'm going for the Braves, I prefer the Flash. That guy's awesome. The guy who races people.
Yeah.
So I'm considering a hand for this. Is a lot of options here. I'm considering the sausages. Love the racing sausages. Love. If
you take the sausages, then you don't get Randall Simon. I'm pretty sure that's the rule.
Okay. Then that's Well, we won't go that one. I love the swinging friar, but I prefer the cartoon version to the mascot.
And the chicken's better. I know the chicken was like a radio thing.
Yeah, it wasn't really like,
officially the Padres mascot or whatever. But he's just outstanding. He was definitely one of the mascot OGs.
So I am going to go with Lucille, the giant seal mascot, mostly just because I love the good call. There you go. Yeah, just because I just love a pun is what it comes down to. I'm always going to go, like, if you give me a choice between a pun and not a pun, I'm always going to go with the pun. And so Lucille, he's a loose seal. There's an Arrested Development bit.
Yes,
around
that's
the same play on words. So
yeah.
Always going to go with that. So that finishes it off.
I don't care about Lucille anymore. What about Krabby? There was a Giants one. Nick and I talked about this the other day. He came on in this League Fantasy Baseball podcast, and there it is, right there.
Crazy
the
crab.
Crazy
Oh
Crab from. Oh yeah, look that one up, Chris, and see if you can get the picture there because
he looks like he's crying.
It's terrifying. It was a Giants mascot that they tried for a couple years. People hated it. Yeah, look at how creepy that thing looks.
Kind of looks like Wilford Brimley a little bit. Yeah, that's weird. I don't like that at all. Not a fan. That's upsetting.
Yeah, that didn't last very long. People didn't like it. So,
all right. So that's the draft. We got through our 5 rounds. Let's go through. Marina, you've got the Oriole Bird, the Mariners Moose, Billy the Marlin, best pick of the draft, Mr. Redlegs, and Stomper the Elephant. Scott's got the Philly Fanatic, Dinger, Baxter, Orbit, and Raymond, the Rays dog, as we've learned today. And I've got Mr. Met, Bernie Brewer, the Racing Presidents, the Pirate Parrot, and Lucille. So, Nick, can we get a poll? Can we get a poll up, or how are we going to do that? Or do we all win? I think we all win.
if you like a mascot, you win. You know, is there? I feel like there has to be a fear of mascots. Can you look that up, Chris? Is there like a clinical term for a fear of mascots? Let's go the opposite way. I feel like there has to be someone.
Masclophobia, sometimes referred to as mascophobia, is a specific phobia used to classify a general and in some cases an irrational fear of masks, people in costumed clothing, and mascots, which is common among toddlers and children. One of my favorite things is there's a video of my wife when she's like 5 in Disney, and all her family's there and they're having a great time, and Disney and Mickey comes up and to say hi, and all the kids are, oh my God, Mickey's here. And my wife is just sobbing. She's so upset about Mickey. I love it. I love when kids are upset at mascots. Cause like, yeah, they're terrifying. You know, if
my mom has a video of me like that at Universal Studios, afraid of the Jaws shark. So
that's more scary. You know, yeah. Mickey's smiling. The jaw, I mean, the shark, I guess, kind of looks like he's smiling, but because he wants to eat you. Mickey probably doesn't want to eat. Who are some of the best that we didn't mention or that we didn't pick? What do you guys think?
Gosh, so I did have a couple of close ones. I guess I'll start with just Slugger. He's a really interesting one just because he's a lion, but then he's got the crown on his head. Yeah. Part of the reason I didn't include him in my top 5 personally, he did have some past legal trouble, so you kind of he apparently was gotten some trouble for launching a hot dog in a child's face. Exactly.
You got to get certified with those hot dog guns. Come on, Slugger.
Exactly. So gotta love Slugger. He also lists American League opponents as his favorite food on MLB.com.
He is a lion.
So slightly off-putting, depending on the audience. But he is a lion. Exactly. So that's another one close to the heart.
I don't love personally that he is that he's got 3 R's in his name. I don't know why, but I find that off-putting. It's Slugger, I guess, because he's growling.
Yeah,
I guess would be
a lion.
Yeah,
okay,
lean
that makes
into
sense.
The shtick, Towers. Come on, let's go. Ace from the Blue Jays. Someone just mentioned it in the chat as well. Was one that was on my list that was considered. The reason I thought it was funny is because apparently the mascot is supposed to have the same type of attitude as Jim Carrey. So I don't know how you would get Jim Carrey from a mascot, but also how do you not get Jim Carrey from a mascot?
Like, I feel like all mascots are going for a Jim Carrey vibe.
Yeah, yeah. So that was just kind of weird. But yeah, Ace, another solid mascot.
I'm a fan of TC Bears, the Twins, Winnie the Pooh mascot. He's got no pants on, just wearing a jersey. Always a fan of the Winnie the Pooh, Donald Duck.
A mascot home run derby at the 2014 All-Star
So
game.
that's what I was going to ask is like, which mascots do we think would be best at baseball? And apparently,
yeah,
I mean, if
TC
he's
can
hitting,
hit some bombs.
okay.
So.
Do you think they chose him specifically for that?
No, they actually, this is after a local Minnesota beer called Hams. They used a bear cartoon all the time in their advertisement, and this bear is supposed to be loosely based off that Hams beer logo.
Oh,
so.
Okay. The Twins do have my favorite mascot in baseball, which is the two twins shaking hands over the state of Minneapolis or Minnesota. That's one of my favorites. We didn't mention or we didn't select Mrs. Matt didn't get selected, unfortunately. But they're kind of a package deal.
I thought so, yeah.
Because that's like you got Ace and he's got a little brother named Junior. So you could get both of those. If
he had a wife named Diamond, but I guess like all the rest of them,
all the rest of the
lady mascots, they got divorced. So
it's a tough job. You're working most nights during the year. You're 82 nights. You got all the appearances.
Can't help take care of the kids. Yeah.
I'm fascinated by mascots. I recently learned that a friend of mine was the Syracuse Orange mascot, or one of them. They have like a 5-person team, and at Syracuse at least, you get like a letter. Like that's like a sport. Okay. And so they're like part of the athletic department, which I thought was hilarious. I don't know who this fella is.
Oh my goodness.
Huh.
Can we get an explanation? I don't know what we're looking at.
Is
here.
This Paw's wife or something?
Is that Paw's? I guess I don't know what Paw's looks like. The tiger's
like Tigger,
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I don't
Leo
know.
and
Lena.
I don't know which team that is though.
Mascot Wiki.
There's a Wikipedia for everything. I love it.
Mascot Wiki. Oh lordy.
It's too small. I'm trying to read it. I couldn't read it. All right.
The Salt Lions mascot, it looked like.
Okay. I don't know what the Salt Lions are.
There, yeah.
Okay. We didn't mention Clark. I'm not a fan of Clark, the Cubs' new mascot. He's again not wearing pants, which I think is funny, but he's a little too cartoony looking for me.
That was a recent one too, right? Like
that was like the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Screech, the Nationals mascot, too realistic looking, which I know is the opposite of what I said for the Cubs. I contain multitudes.
How about the teams that don't have mascots, like the Angels and the Yankees and the Dodgers?
Taking themselves too seriously.
Pretty lame, right?
Yeah.
To not have a mascot.
Yeah, like
right?
Because the Yankees, you definitely know it's like we're the Yankees. We're too important.
Well, they don't even allow facial hair along there, so like they're no fun at all. Yeah, that looks like a creepy old man.
This is Screech recognizing the 2023 Nationals roster.
Yeah, that's Screech's.
And then went away.
Looks really upset about something. Yeah, the Yankees. It's definitely like, we're the Yankees. Oh, we can't have. They should just. I'm gonna start going to Yankees games. Dressed as a mustache. That should be the New York Yankees mascot. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Is this real? Was this really a thing?
I don't know what that is. That looks terrifying.
Yes, this is a real thing. This was Dandy, the mascot. I will
Yankee
get a
Doodle
better
Dandy.
image for you guys.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
This was a thing that happened very briefly, and they were
This is why the Phillies weren't shelling out that $5,200 for the copyright. Because of this thing right here.
It wasn't quite as dandy as they thought it would be. It's just not. I mean, what are they trying to do?
It looks like Wade Boggs.
Yeah. This is actually what Wade Boggs emulated. He saw this growing up. It's like, this is what I want to be.
I want to be a dandy.
I want to be dandy.
I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a fantastic panel. Chris, Scott, Marina, I hope you feel very proud of your mascot teams. Please tweet them out, of course, for everybody to keep track of it. It was a tie, by the way, for your for who won the draft. But I love this. This is a celebration of the culture of baseball in a fantastic way. I can't thank you enough for a very fun discussion about it. We don't give enough focus to this because it's not easy being a mascot. It really isn't.
It's tough.
And they do such a good job and liven this sport.
The Philly Fanatic makes like $400,000 a year. That dude is rolling it. He's doing real. I think he's the highest paid mascot in sports.
Oh my god!
I imagine it. Yeah.
When are they going to have like a bachelorette for mascots? That's what I'm wondering.
In their mascot costumes?
Yeah, in the mascot costumes, right.
Go look at Andrew McCutcheon's timeline. You'll find it. So
Love is blind.
They've already
had
that.
Talk to each other, then they realize they're
love
mute.
it. Oh, that's phenomenal.
But anyway, Marina, Chris, Scott, everybody, please tell us what you're working on. We'll start with you, Scott.
I'm over at In This League.
Steve, I apologize.
Yeah. Get my name right, please, Nick. So you can find me on Twitter at Bogman Sports. I'm doing the Fantasy Baseball podcast with the Welsh over at In This League. Also work for Fantasy Pros, doing some football stuff over there and at In This League. CFB Winning Edge, you can catch me on there talking some college football as well. So Sports Grid, I mean, if you want to hear me, I'm around. So just follow my Twitter at Bogman Sports. You can find all the stuff I do. Thanks for having me, Nick. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I giggled when I put you on this one. Marina, let's go with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Twitter at Marine Beam. That is my account. I am an editor with Pitcher List. You can find me at Dodger Stadium every few weekends. I do the stadium tours over there. Super fun, exciting stuff. A lot of baseball history. Not just about the Dodgers. We do a little of everything. So tons of fun. Also the LA Coliseum. That's my full-time gig. So I'm over there doing a lot of different things for a lot of different organizers. We've got a NASCAR race coming up next weekend. So definitely tune into that on Fox. But yeah, lots of exciting stuff to come.
Yeah, great. And Chris?
I'm Chris Towers. I'm at cbssports.com/fantasy/baseball. You can find me on the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast. Sorry, Nick, but fantasy football today newsletter as well. I know you hate fantasy football. I know you hate any reference to it. It's okay. I understand, but
and
I gotta get paid.
Good ethos in softball as well. Don't forget that one, Chris. But really, thank you all so much for being a part of PitchCon this year.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.